Statesman Nation, here with Todd Hafner as we preview Week 6. Holy cow, Coach! It's
Week 6.
in the middle of the year already.
I know it.
How
I
that
know
happened?
it. I don't know.
Avila coming to town, homecoming in 2 days. So, Coach, coming off a nice big win against Evangel. Always a tough place to win, going that far down there and everything. But getting a win. Got Avila this week for homecoming. So obviously, as we always do, we recap last week. So let's talk about the win over the Crusaders.
Well, it was a great win for a lot of reasons. You know, it put us above 500. But more importantly, we beat a really good football team Saturday. It was, you know, the weather conditions were extremely hot, you know, like it was throughout the country, and we showed a lot of mental toughness on Saturday. You know, we started to get banged up a little bit toward the middle of the game, and we had some young kids step in and play well, and which is exciting. You know, you prepare them, and they haven't had much game experience, and so you know, the fact that they went in and played well and you know, did good and played their role was exciting for us to see.
Yeah, definitely. And then another situation, segueing into that, you have Tyler Wood, who had started against Missouri Valley, got the win there, so you knew what you could potentially get out of him, and he steps in and does a great job. You guys passed for over 200 yards.
What's going on?
And where did that come from? I don't know. Obviously, you get some of those yards on a fake punt, but he throws for 170. You guys actually pass for more than you run for. You know, big yards. The defense steps up when it has to. You know, and then you guys are able to milk the clock at the end. But let's talk about Tyler's a little bit, and then, you know, talk defense too.
Yeah, you know, we do know what we get with Tyler, and that's a lot of athleticism.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that Tyler probably has over the other two guys is Tyler can really throw the ball well. He's very accurate with his throws. You know, and we feel that we can throw it, you know, on any down because he's going to make a good decision with the football, and he's probably going to put it on the money. And you know, the throw the first play of the game, he outran the defensive end and kind of flipped it sidearm, and you look up and it went 55 yards in the air, and it's just one of those things that he's very strong-armed, and he does a good job reading the passing game, and so that brings a little bit of a different element to our game. Yeah. You know, we were able to run the clock at the end, which was very fortunate for us. We got a huge first down with just under a minute left in the game, and that was just Tyler and Grant making a great play. And so, you know, defensively, again, you can't talk enough about what our defense has done. You know, held them to 22 or 27 yards rushing on 22 carries, and sacked the quarterback, and you know, put them in a bad spot. And you know, one of their touchdowns was a defensive touchdown. You know, and so our defense again stepped up big. We're very pleased with. I mean, everybody should be pleased with where our defense is at. Our defensive coaches are doing a great job. Scheming it up, and our kids are playing really hard, so it makes it a lot of fun to watch them.
Definitely. Let's switch over and talk about Avila. This is a team that, you know, this can be definitely a trap game. Let's just call it what it is. This is a team that, you know, isn't going to probably blow you away by any numbers and anything like that, but they can be scary.
Sure.
They can put some points on the board. They did 44 against Graceland. I mean, they're capable of opening up some, but obviously there's some, you know, they lack in some areas as well. Hence why their record is what it is, and the yards are what they are and all of that. So.
I think, you know, the toughest part for them right now is they're so darn young.
Right.
You know, defensively, you look at their depth chart, and it's freshmen and sophomores, you know, up and down the list, and you know, that can be a good thing and a bad thing, and the bad thing is you're not quite sure sometimes what you're going to get, but those young kids are talented now, and you know, they played Peru State first game of the year, which offensively that's a good gauge for us, and you know, midway through the second quarter that game was 7-7, and Peru was struggling to move the football, and so you know, they play extremely hard. They have two seniors that play on defense that you can tell they're the leaders of the group because they are all over the place, and I think those young kids really feed off of that. You know, offensively they're very diverse. They want to be able to run the ball. You know, they're a spread offense, but they want to be able to run it, and if you let them get, you know, two-dimensional with the run and the pass, it could be a long day. You know, we're going to go try and make them one-dimensional. We're going to go try and stop the run like we do every single week, and make them put the ball in the air and let our guys, you know, pass rush. And so they're definitely a scary football team. You know, Coach Hicks has done a fantastic job with that team coming off no wins last year. he's infused some energy into them, and if nothing else, we know that they're going to come play extremely hard, and they're gonna give it all they got.
Definitely. In regards to mid-season, we talked off camera. This is a good time for it to be the week before the bye week.
Yes.
I'd rather have it be the bye week. You guys are a little banged up, as every team probably is right now. But let's talk about that situation, and as you alluded before, giving some younger kids an opportunity to step up, and they've done that.
They have.
Every year we talk about this. The guys just, they know it's next man up, and they are very excited to get their opportunity, and they definitely take advantage of it.
They do, and I think that's a tribute to our kids. I think it's a tribute to our kids caring about what's going on. That they pay attention when they're not necessarily in the game, so when it is their opportunity, they do a good job of knowing what to do, where to go, and that's offensively, defensively, that's everywhere. And so we've been fortunate that we've been able to build some depth through recruiting. Some of that depth is still a little bit young, but they're starting to get a little bit older, and so they've been in our program for a while, and so. We're going to have some kids step up this week. We've got a couple kids that we're still not sure about that are going to play or not play. But last week we had a couple kids go down, and Zach Tracy stepped in at tackle for us for a few plays, and Charles Nelson stepped in at guard for us for a few plays, and Amos went out for a while, and Ben Sherman went in, and so and Cooper Goss, not even to mention, didn't even play last week.
Right.
And he's one of our starting defensive ends, and I think that just it goes to show you that our kids really care. We have very versatile kids that can play multiple positions, especially on defense, which really helps us. And so we're not the only team banged up right now. This is football, and it's like I told the kids Tuesday before practice. You chose to do this.
Yeah.
All right. So sometimes you got to be tough, and sometimes you just got to know when you got to be out. And so we're excited for Saturday. We're going to put a great football team on the field, and we know whether they're our starter or our backup, whoever's playing the game is going to give everything, and we're going to have a good chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking about Saturday as well, finally, it's homecoming. We always love to talk about this a little bit, and I'm hoping you've heard from a lot of alum that say, we're coming back. We don't always get to make it back, but definitely coming back for homecoming. I'm sure that's a little shot in the arm for the guys. They get excited to play in front of some guys that they've played with in the past, or just showing off for the old timers,
right.
so to speak.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the excitement building around homecoming, and how you guys maybe add that into the game plan and just kind of get the guys a little more excited.
Well, one thing that our coaching staff has decided that homecoming is for the kids, and so we've encouraged them to get involved during the week, and and go do a lot of those activities that are on campus, and go have fun with homecoming. And starting today, tomorrow, we'll start to see some of the alumni come in. They'll start to filter around practice, and it's fun to talk about. Our older kids will soon be in that position where they'll be coming back for homecoming and things like that, and so it's a lot of fun to see the guys coming back, especially some of those guys from Dad's crew back in the early 70s still come back and watch us play, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to perform in front of those people, because they're the ones that laid the groundwork. And so it is exciting. It's exciting for us too to see all those guys, and so homecoming is a great week, and let alone that one of the best offensive linemen in William Penn history is going into the Hall of Fame, and Stephen Dolly, and we're super excited for Stephen. It's well deserved, and we're excited for Stephen to be able to get in.
Definitely. Throwing a weird twist on this, is that ever a distraction? Looking at, you got all these guys back. Are they like, I don't know, they spend too much time trying to impress the other guys, or they just, just a lot of other things going on?
That's a good question, because I think initially, when we thought about homecoming, when we were younger coaches, it was, maybe we considered it a distraction. I think our kids now know when to turn it on and turn it off, and I think that, yes, it's fun for them, but they know that if they don't go win the game on Saturday and put all their focus and energy on that, it's going to be a tough weekend for everybody that came back. And
Right.
so I think our kids have done a good job of, when it's practice time, our kids have done a good job at practice, and some of the other activities they've enjoyed. And when Saturday gets here, we'll be focused and ready to rock.
Definitely. And then finally, keys to success for Saturday's win.
Well, we have to still continue to get better to score in the red zone. We were still, we were 4 for 6 in the red zone. Our kicking game is hurting a little bit, but it's one of those things where we have to do a better job of scoring touchdowns in the red zone. We had the 2 turnovers last week. You'd like to see that, but it's one of those things where offensively we're getting the ball in there. Now we just got to go score. Yeah. Defensively they turned them over twice last week. I mean, you can always say, let's get better at turning them over, but I think the keys to success is when the other team gets in the red zone is hold them to a field goal or stop them. And so I think red zone success on both sides is going to be important this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Coach. Well, best of luck on Saturday. 1 o'clock start at Lacey Complex Stadium. We have a lot of homecoming activities going on all throughout the day. Hall of Fame with Stephen Dolly being inducted, one of the 3 being inducted during halftime. So if you can't be at the stadium, definitely watch everything. StatesmanAthletics.com is your source for all Statesman news and for the game. So again, best of luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Go get win number 4,
and
then go into the bye week and
take a deep breath. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Wayne.
All right.
All right.